If you're in the nonprofit world, you know there's one challenge that's bigger than all the rest. How do you really connect with today's donors? It's not just about telling a moving story anymore. Something's changed. So let's dive into what it really takes. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this single question. In a world that's just flooded with causes and campaigns, all competing for attention, what is the one thing that will grab a donor's focus? And, even more importantly, earn their trust for the long haul? Well, it turns out the secret sauce isn't just one thing. It's this powerful blend of heart and head. Donors absolutely want to feel that emotional tug from a personal story, but they also need to see the cold, hard proof that their contribution is making a real, measurable difference. And that right there brings us to the core of the problem. For decades, fundraising has leaned almost entirely on emotional stories. But relying only on the heart has some pretty serious drawbacks. Okay, so let's break down what's not working. First off, trying to create a unique, amazing story for every single person you help, that is incredibly hard to scale up. It just eats up resources. And what happens? The stories start to feel kind of formulaic. And trust me, modern donors can spot an inauthentic story from a mile away. On top of that, these generic stories don't feel personal, and they're a total headache to chop up and adapt for every platform out there, from an email newsletter to a TikTok video. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The experts at Yibu Digital put it perfectly. They point out that fundraising teams are in this constant juggling act, balancing emotion with facts, all while dealing with tight budgets and trying to please a bunch of different audiences. It's a huge challenge. So, if the old way is hitting a wall, what's the fix? Well, it's a totally new way of thinking about communication. It's about telling stories that are supercharged with data. Okay, so data-driven storytelling. I know, it might sound a little corporate, right? But all it really means is strategically blending those heartfelt stories we all love with hard facts and measurable data. The whole point is to create a fundraising message that hits you in the heart and convinces your brain. Let's make this super clear with an example. Meet Ahmed. We can tell a really moving story about him, right? He's a sponsored child who got seriously sick but recovered because of the medical care his program provided. That's the heart. You hear that and you feel an instant connection. And now, here comes the magic. We pair Ahmed's personal journey with a simple, clear chart, just like this one. It shows a dramatic before and after for child health in his entire community. All of a sudden, Ahmed's story isn't just a one-off. He becomes the human face of a program that is proven to work. So, how does this 1-2 punch of story and stats actually build a stronger bridge to your donors? Let's pop the hood and look at the mechanics of it. This approach basically gives your message superpowers in 4 key ways. The personal story, of course, creates that vital emotional bond. But then, the verifiable data builds rock-solid trust by proving your impact is real, not just wishful thinking. Simple visuals, like that bar chart we just saw, make complex results super easy for anyone to understand in like 5 seconds. And finally, by sharing data updates regularly, you keep your donors engaged for the long run, showing them they're part of an ongoing success story. Okay, the theory sounds good, but what about the real-world results? This is where the data-driven approach really pulls ahead of the pack. I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at the difference. With the old way, credibility is kind of fuzzy. It relies on goodwill. But with data, your credibility is backed by actual metrics. Engagement used to be a short-term burst, but consistent data updates create a long-term relationship. But look at that last line. That's the game changer, donor retention. It often drops off after a big emotional push, but it actually improves when you keep showing people proof that their support is working. So, to sum it up, the benefits are huge. We're talking about a direct line to increased credibility, way stronger donor trust, and, of course, higher retention. You're not just getting one-time donations, you're building lasting partnerships. But if you're going to remember just one number from all of this, please let it be this one, 50%. So what's that 50% all about? It's incredible. Research shows that campaigns that combine stories with data can boost donations by a massive 50%. Compared to campaigns that just show people a bunch of numbers. It is undeniable proof that the magic happens when you blend the two, when you put a human face on the data and give the stories a backbone of facts. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds amazing, but where on earth do I even start? Don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. Let's walk through a few clear, simple first steps to make this happen. All right, step one, you need the right tools for the job. Take a hard look at how you're collecting data now and think about investing in something that makes it easier, like a good CRM. Step two, train your team. This is so important. You need people who can look at a spreadsheet and see the human story hiding in the numbers. And step three, build a system. Create a repeatable process for matching up those powerful personal stories with the before and after data that really shows your impact. So, as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty obvious this isn't just some passing fad. This is truly the future of fundraising. It's all about amplifying that powerful emotion with undeniable proof. And let me be absolutely crystal clear about the big takeaway here. The goal is not to replace heart with numbers. Never. It's to give your powerful, human, heartfelt stories the rock-solid proof they've always deserved. It's about making them stronger, more believable, and way, way more persuasive. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about for your own organization. Is the story you're telling just emotional? Or is it backed by the kind of proof that makes it truly, completely unforgettable? Because finding the answer to that question, well, that could change absolutely everything.